I'm LP Master 6. And 64 for the Nintendo 64, of course. Released in 1996 in Japan, 1997 in most other places in the world, and 2003 in China for the IQ player, their version of the Nintendo 64, where the game is called simply Mario Kart. But you probably knew all of that already if you're watching this, because most of my fans seem to be the type of people, like myself, that read wiki articles a lot. Of course, you might be thinking, oh, I already knew that because I was alive in this time. Well, you probably didn't know the China part just by being alive in 1997, right? I wasn't alive in 97. It's the dumbest intro ever. Anyway, this is the exciting follow-up to the very successful and much beloved Super Mario Kart. So how does this game hold up? We will find out. But first, let's look at our options. We can go back to the main menu, move my chair loudly. Speaking of sound, we can choose from stereo, headphone, and mono. Obviously, I recommend stereo, but the manual for the game actually comes with a warning. Stereo sound is only available when using a Nintendo 64 stereo AV cable, sold separately. Which explains why throughout my entire life I've only had one set of cables. Because they came with the GameCube. The 64 and the GameCube use the same AV cables, but the standard during the time of the Nintendo 64, my childhood, I was born in 98, so pretty close to 97, the standard was to hook it up to your TV broadcasting stuff. I don't know what any of that's called. I was a little too young at the time when that was commonplace. Not cable, but where you'd get the few local channels, you know? And the Nintendo 64 would take over channel 3 or 4. It had a little switch. I still have it somewhere where you could choose which channel it would take over. There was no aux. Okay, it would take over 3 or 4. And that makes me feel really old. Like, my screen was so tiny. My whole TV was tiny. I'm still using a tube TV, but it's giant and modern. Well, modern for a CRT. But I bet that people, even 10 years younger than I am, unless they just have a big retro fetish, have no idea what I'm talking about. And that makes me feel really old. But enough ranting for now. We don't have to worry about this for now either. Let's erase all data, even though it's my childhood cartridge and I can never get the data back. I just want you to hear this cool sound. All saved data has been now erased. Never noticed before today that that's worded so awkwardly. Let's get into the main mode, shall we? And I will be showing every difficulty. Oh, I forgot that he says that there. Well, we're going to start with the easiest one. And we're going to be showing off every one of the 8 characters. Starting with Mario, of course. I don't know why he says select map, because we're selecting 4 at once. I also don't like when tracks are called maps. It's either course or track, otherwise it bothers me. But also a first in the series, and a big rarity for the series, the Special Cup, everything is unlocked from the very beginning. All the tracks and all the characters. Which was because the game has a multiplayer focus. It was the first big flagship multiplayer title for the Nintendo 64, and they wanted everything to be accessible and ready to go as soon as you opened it. You didn't want to have to waste time unlocking stuff, you know. You wanted to play whatever you wanted to do from the get-go. You can. Not to say there's not unlockables in the game, and I would honestly hate it if there weren't. Because unlockables in a game like this give you a purpose. They give you something to do, like a goal to work toward, and that's what I like the best. Of course, it's really minor and doesn't matter either way, because we're going to be playing through all the difficulties and all the tracks either way. God, all the voice acting is so good. So this is it, the sequel to Super Mario Kart. I guess I can start by talking about the visuals. They have surprisingly been upgraded, even by today's standards. Whereas most SNES games age way better than Nintendo 64 games, I feel like this is an exception. Ooh, I messed up. If you slip on a banana in this game, you can actually recover from it before you spin out. because your tires will start squealing, you can press B at just the right time to avoid spinning out. Okay, which I failed to do again there. Oops. Another new feature, you can hold an item out behind you, depending on the item, and it won't be in the item window anymore, meaning you can pick up another one. A lot of people consider this dual wielding. I can't talk today, but I don't know if it technically counts. You have to hold down the button the whole time, but I can recommend this strategy. Always have your item behind you. It's not as important in this game as it is later games in the franchise, but still, if somebody comes up on riding your ass, which is most likely to happen in this game, this is very useful. But anyway, back to the visuals. They're just so nice. They combine what makes the launch titles of the 64 good visually, whereas Super Mario... I keep saying whereas, like a jackass. Super Mario 64 invented the cartoony 3D aesthetic for the Mario series, and Pilot Wing 64 created such simple polygonal environments that still look so good and detailed, even though they're simultaneously barren of detail and very detailed. It's very charming. I think that's more charming even than the polygonal aesthetic of Mario 64. But, I mean, that still had it too. But another reason I think everything looks so good is because even though it doesn't look great, it looks good on a CRT TV, and even most displays a little bit. It aged okay. Oh no. Oh, we hit a chubby, because Monty moles in this game are called chubbies. I don't know why. Ooh. What was that? Oh, we have a new item, the blue shell. It's actually called the spiny shell. But on one occasion, the Super Mario Bros. Movie from 2023, the year I'm recording this, it was called the blue shell, officially. And we got back to first very easily. But they will catch back up very soon. Don't worry. What was I saying? Oh, the racers and the items, in case you couldn't tell, are actually billboarded 2D sprites. The development team said that the game would have run perfectly okay by making all the racers polygonal models, but the frame rate would have chugged, so they decided to, how do I want to phrase this? Forego visual perfection to preserve performance fidelity. That's what I would write if this were an essay, I guess. So, I don't know, this commentary is weird. I'm going to look back on this in 5 years when I don't remember any of it and laugh and wonder what the hell I'm talking about. And that's how you know it's a good video, right? Are you all enjoying yourselves? So I'm sure you have all seen this game before. But this track, Moo Moo Farm, introduces some of my favorite underrated creatures in the Mario universe, the Moo Moos. They might have been called Moo Moos in this game. They're mostly referred to as cows, but at the very least by Wii or 8, Mario Kart Wii, Mario Kart 8, they were called Moo Moos. But they're some of my favorites. They're just rounder cows. They're great. Because I love cows. Cows are fantastic. They love music, especially from brass instruments, or I think piano. And they also really love to play with balls. Yes, you can make an innuendo at that. Feel free. But like, we need to put toys out in our pasture for the cows. They're not our cows, but our neighbor comes and like lets his cows in the pasture sometimes. 'Cause, you know, the previous owner of the house, my wife's grandfather, let that happen. So he was like, alright, do you want me to close the gate, or do you want, you know, the cows in the pasture? And we were like, duh, we want the cows in the pasture. That's half the reason I, like, didn't sell the pasture, because it's a separate property from our house. But anyway, back to the game. Why don't we talk about another plus, another nice upgrade here from Super Mario Kart. I think the soundtrack is better. Now, the Super Mario Kart soundtrack's phenomenal, and I think the main themes are catchier. But the sound design here, especially the sound effects, oh my god. I think Koji Kondo did the sound effects. But the music in this game was composed by Kenta Nagata, who, this was his first work on a video game, his first work at Nintendo, and I dare say he did a very good job. Like, the music, it's an example of, it doesn't sound amazing on its own, but in terms of, like, while you're actually playing the game, god, does it fit perfectly. But that's enough sucking the game's dick. Because I have a lot of complaints about this game, I gotta be honest. This is a game I loved in my childhood, but I think this is the worst Mario Kart game. Like, I have nostalgia for this game, but oh man. The controls are a mixture of the old arcadey, difficult-to-learn controls of Super Mario Kart, you know, akin to F-Zero, F1 Race, games like that, and more modern controls, so you get the best and worst of both worlds. Oh. But that's not really a problem. The controls you can get used to. The drifting isn't my favorite. In fact, I think it's almost harder to use because of the courses being so straight. You'd think that would make it easier to use, but for me, it makes it less necessary and harder in that way than in Super. And of course, it's way harder than later games. Later games made drifting so much easier. Or power sliding, as it was often called back in the day. But this game did introduce, when your smoke trails turn orangey red, that's when you get a mini turbo. And your character will make a positive voice clip to signify that you did it successfully. We did that a lot in Luigi Raceway, the first track that I didn't talk about at all. But the main issue with this game is its abysmal rubber band AI. This is the worst example of rubber band AI ever. Like, I don't think anything could ever top this. I'm sure something could, but I haven't found it. Beautiful, perfect. The gimmick of this track is the train. Also, the song is really good, but I'll let you listen to the music later when I have nothing to talk about. This is the only track in a racing game I've ever seen where you have to brake for seconds at a time. And it's honestly a really cool idea. Like, the execution's not amazing or anything, but this is a visually pleasing track. The music's great. The train looks great. In the Virtual Console re-releases of this game, the wheels on the train are black instead of red, for God knows why. But, okay, it's time to explain the rubber band AI I keep talking about. They really wanted all the races to be close in every difficulty level, especially the harder ones, so the game would be more exciting. You can just breeze through it like most people when they're really good at a racing game. That's ridiculous. Skill equating, you know, performance outcome, a positive feedback loop. That's ridiculous. And yes, the lightning returns from Super Mario Kart. We just got hit by it. The music's gone, though, from when you get hit by lightning, which is a shame. But, if you are in the lead, the AI will be on your ass constantly. But if you are behind, the AI will slow down. So they are constantly elasticating, is that a word, around you. And it's obnoxious. It's not so bad in 50cc, but it does nothing but get worse. 100cc is the worst about it. And then 150, the AI, if you let somebody get ahead of you and they go off screen, they will zoom ahead and you can struggle to keep up. Of course, that's not so bad if you're like really good at the game, like if you're a speedrunner especially, or if you're pulling off some special tricks, which over half of the tracks in the game have a way where you can skip like at least 20% of the track, which is really cool. This is the game in the series with the most shortcuts, which I think is really cool. So the track, did I say track in the series? I meant game, where the tracks have the most shortcuts. And I respect that quite a bit. Because there's only 16 tracks, which is less than the predecessor, which is a little shameful. Because sure, it's the same amount of cups, right? But it's, you know, 4 tracks per cup instead of 5. And of course, because the tracks are bigger, which makes up for that a bit, there's only 3 laps per track. But I'd say it works out. The track design's pretty solid overall. I don't have any complaints about any of the tracks. Okay, well, I have some complaints about some of the tracks, but I like them all. Same with Super Mario Kart. I think there are more highs and lows here, but this is cool. This impressed me so much as a kid. They just copied everything from Super Mario 64 and added a track back there. And you can see a fence all the way in the back. That wasn't in Super Mario 64, so what's going on there? Man, this award ceremony feels good. Just seeing... It ties the games together so well. It's so good. I don't have to describe this any further, right? It's kind of hard to put into words. It's just so cool. Especially to a young child. I actually didn't own this game as a kid. The first time I played it was on my aunt's copy, like most games that are older than I am. You placed first! In the Japanese version, it says, you are in first. Or something awkward like that. And it has periods after the bottom 2 sentences, which make it really awkward looking. But there we go! That was nice and easy. Alright, back into 50cc. We're going to keep going, get another cup in this video. And we're going to play as Luigi. I'm sorry, I talked over that sound clip. Charles Martinet also voices Luigi. This is his first time voicing Luigi. Oh, and it doesn't show that you have a trophy until you click to select it in each difficulty. So that is why we're going for each trophy in every difficulty in every cup. This is a beautiful track. I love this one so much. There, I finally did the rocket start. The boost at the beginning. You want to do it right before the blue light comes on. So perfectly between the middle red light and then the blue light. I don't know why they changed it from green to blue. Maybe for colorblind people, but they weren't really thinking about things like that back in 1996, so I'm not sure. But as you can see, we're racing alongside real vehicles on a highway with street lights and everything in the beautiful N64 aesthetic. Oh, I love it so much. I love it. But I was saying several things at once. I'm sorry. For the longest time... for the longest time. Billy Joel reference. Really sick. Yes. Sorry. It was obligatory. Because I know I'm going to be thinking it anytime I rewatch this and while editing. So I wanted to go ahead and get it out of the way. I thought it didn't log if you actually beat any of the cups. Which really annoyed me. Because it was like there was no purpose to doing anything except doing the special cup. Like in 150cc, because that's the true ending of the game, you know? But, no, it does track them, it just doesn't show you. You know, you don't get to see all the trophies in a big screen. Oops. Ugh. The controls are really kind of awkward. I talked about that a little bit. I don't know if they're... I think they are better than Super Mario Kart, but that's easier to get used to because it's a classic racer. And this is more like the first modern racer ever. At least on Nintendo's side of things. Because I don't know otherwise. I mean, I'm sure like the Cruisin' series already existed, right? I think Cruisin' USA came out for the 64 before this. But, oh, that's so satisfying. Also, this rendition of the song is really good. Can we hit Toad? No. Oh, but if anybody bumps into Toad at high enough speed, he just flies off. It's so good. That's why I don't like playing as Toad. The weight class system is here, which makes the characters all different. There are 3 different weight classes and subtle differences between the characters. Mario and Luigi are the middleweight drivers, which have equal top speed to the heavyweight drivers, and better... Is it better or worse acceleration? Either way, they have the best handling in the game, I believe. No. Yes. I think. I'm going to be honest, I can't remember it all. I played Mario all the time in childhood up until like today. I played as all... I didn't even... I did it before spinning out. You can tell from the music note that pops up above your head. If you braked? That sounds really awkward to say. If you hit the brake successfully before spinning out entirely, you get the music note, and it's a very satisfying experience. I didn't know that until my friend Galen told me when he came over to record Donkey Kong Country 3, my last Let's Play. We were doing the multiplayer, and then we practiced this a bit, because he's going to be joining me for this multiplayer, along with 2 other people. I haven't decided... No. We're right at the end. Come on! Oh, you gotta be kidding. Oh, that's so frustrating. Whatever, you get to hear what it sounds like when you get 3rd. I think it's 2nd through 4th have a jingle, and then 5th through 8th have a you lose jingle. Well, let me think. There was something else I was talking about that I completely forgot. I'm sorry. So I guess I'll go back to talking about my history with this game. I played it a lot single player, mostly just on 50cc at my aunt's. The only memory I have of that is playing one of the tracks we'll get to later, Choco Mountain. That is the only track I remember playing at my grandma's house, upstairs by myself while everybody was having a party downstairs for somebody's birthday or something. Maybe it was around Christmas? I can't remember, but I played Choco Mountain on my aunt's copy of the game. I don't know why I never asked for my own copy of the game, but most of my experience was in elementary and middle school. I had these close friends named Jason, which is also my name, and Jessica, which is my wife's name, but this isn't my wife. This is somebody I dated very briefly in middle school, but I didn't really understand the concept of dating, so I was a terrible boyfriend, so I apologized to her. I did apologize to her a few years ago, actually, for being kind of mean to her, because I never realized how mean I was as a kid, but I'm getting off track. They had a copy, and I played it at their house all the time, because they didn't live very far from me. And, you know, I didn't go to other people's houses very often, but I went to their house a lot, especially in the summer, because they lived right next to the town pool, which was attached to the school. So I would walk there to the pool in the summer, and after we'd all be at the pool almost every day in the summer, at least once a week, maybe at least twice a week probably, I would just go to their house and hang out, and we'd play Mario Kart 64 most of the time. I have very vivid memories of that. And then I never bought a cartridge of this game until I was graduating high school. It was around the end of high school, and I ran into Jessica, the one I mentioned before, not my wife. I was with my wife at the time, and she told me they were having a garage sale because they needed some money, so they were selling some of their old games. And I went up there with my friend David. We were walking around town, and we passed their house, and I was like, whoa, you're selling this? You can't sell this. I was like, and I'm a very frugal man. I never buy anything. Even back in high school, it was very rare. I spent money on my girlfriend, now wife, and that was about it. But I saw that cartridge there, and I was like, I'll buy it. You know, this has a lot of memories attached to it. And I think she said $5, and I think I paid her $10. Either that or it was the other way around. I was kind of an asshole, so I probably paid her $5. I was like, oh no, I think it was that way. This is the course I was talking about. Where I only had $5, and she said that was fine. And I was like, thank you. You know, this means a lot, because this is the cartridge I grew up playing. And then I erased all their save data. I'm sad I did that, but I think it was just gold trophies on everything. I don't know if they had any time trial records saved or what. I can't remember, honestly. But I then proceeded not to play the game until 2017, where I played it once, decided it wasn't as good as I remembered, because it really isn't. And then I played it a few other times with my friend Galen, my friend Drew, and then practicing for this Let's Play, and that's about it. And I hated it at the beginning of practice. I really did, but it's really got a little bit of a learning curve. Once you learn how to deal with the AI, it's not that bad. And in 50cc now I can relax. But this truly is the only Mario Kart game where even in 50cc you have to be careful. And I can commend it because I understand what they were going for. But... oh, I did it! Oh, that feels so good. Again, because I didn't know until like 5 days ago that that was a thing. Oh, even though he told me before, I remember him telling me before. But this track, oh, it just brings back memories of my aunt. She wasn't even in the room. I didn't spend much time with her, but I've talked about her several times before. It is thanks to her, you know, my whole personality is Nintendo games. So, I just wish I got to tell her that. I really, really do. I have a lot more to talk about the game. Oh, I was talking about the differences in weight class. Oops. The only difference between Mario and Luigi is Mario weighs slightly more than Luigi. So if they're bumping into each other, Mario will win that fight. And that's about it for their differences. Heavyweight characters, especially Bowser, if you run into Bowser at high enough speed, no matter what, you will spin out. It's very obnoxious. The lightweight characters are statistically the best. They have the highest top speed, but the worst handling. No, the heavyweight characters have the worst handling. But no. Oh, give me my money back, you bitch! Yes! Oh! Thank God. As if it's a big deal if I got second place. Man, okay, yeah, weight classes. But top speed doesn't really matter that much in the single player because, again, the AI, it doesn't matter what character they're playing. They will match your speed if they have to. Oh my God, we're tied with Toad? Oh, that means we either have to win this or make sure Toad's in third and behind us. But I'm not very good at this track, so we'll see how that goes. However, if you tie at the end of a circuit, you will still get the trophy. You'll still win. Like, that's even the case in multiplayer. Player 1 will always win in the case of a tie. I don't know what determines who gets second or third, though, if it's AI. I have no idea. It feels weird to say AI, because for years I always just called them... Oops. Again, I'm not very good at the drifting. Or half the mechanics in the game. So there are a surprising amount of gameplay secrets in here. Like, if you spin out, or especially, what's it called? There's a word for it. Not when you spin out, but when you're launched into the air. If you triple tap the A button instead of holding it down to accelerate, if you tap it 3 times and then hold it down, you'll accelerate faster. Originally, they wanted drifting to be done solely with the control stick and not the R button, but they took that out. And in the original Japanese 1.0 release of the game, you could start the drift with R. You had to start it with R, but then you can control the rest of it with L. What does the L button do now, you ask? Well, I already did this, but I'll be able to show it off in a minute. I'm a little busy. Yes! Oh, that was beautiful. Okay, Toad's in third. That's delicious. Shall we talk about how the AI works in this game a little more? Now, aside from the rubber band AI, Super Mario Kart had a rival system where predetermined characters, depending on who you were playing as, would be at certain speeds and difficulty levels compared to you. And that would change depending on what their points were by the next race. But now, it's all random, depending what the characters are. In 50cc, second place and third place are usually equal in terms of speed and difficulty. And then fourth place, well, this is assuming you're first. Fourth place would be slightly worse than them, and then everybody else after that would just suck. And they will almost never catch up to you. In later difficulties, the top AI will become a lot faster than the other ones. Also, you can never skip this sequence, so as cool as I made it out to be, it does get a little old and annoying. But for now, it's still nice and satisfying, especially on this CRT where everything looks really good. I'd like to think my video quality looks pretty good. It's a little, you know, dark and a little blurry, but I mean, isn't that aesthetically pleasing, right? And of course, the sprites for the players are very blurry anyway. Again, still look good. Also, this part sounds really good in stereo, or in headphones, I mean. But what else was I going to say? We talked about the AI. I need to talk more about the items. You kept seeing me use an item box as an item. Because instead of item panels, now it's item boxes, which are more 3D and cool. But the fake item box...
Congratulations! I'm a Luigi.
Number 1. Oh, I love it. The fake item box has an upside down question mark, but is otherwise indistinguishable. I like to hold it out behind me, just like I do bananas and shells, because an enemy can just run into it, which they will because of the rubber banding. But if you're with other humans, it's good because the item boxes are kind of in a cluster, assorted strangely anyway in most tracks. Not the early tracks, but especially the later ones. And if you put it in there, it'll be hard to tell the difference. So there are some uses for that. And we'll talk about other new items next time when I do the Star Cup. That was a pretty okay part 1. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm LP Master 6.